Hello and welcome back to my channel. Today I have the X-Men 97 Cyclops figure. As of late, I've been having a lot of issues with ordering figures online and then I find them in stores. This wasn't one of them. I did want to buy this one online, but I decided to wait. My main focus was Nightcrawler, and I got my hands on a Nightcrawler. It's on its way. It's being shipped. I had a little bit of an issue with that, but nonetheless, it's on its way. And then I went into Walmart and I found Nightcrawler, and I was so mad because you pay more when you buy toys online, just shipping factors and everything like that. I already spent the money, and it's a store I like, so I don't want to be like, hey, can I cancel this order, please? Like, I'm just going to deal with it, but it is super frustrating. But I did find Cyclops, right, alongside Nightcrawler, so that's pretty exciting. I found pretty much the whole wave, except for, who else was in this wave? Jean Grey was not one of the figures, alongside everyone else, so I do want to get this new Magneto, because he looks pretty cool. Of course, you can't see him. Goblin Queen's pretty cool, but I don't have much of a association with her. Same with Executioner. Seeing him in store, he looks a lot cooler in person than he does, like, you know, online, so that is exciting. But regardless, I only got my hands on technically 2 from this wave. It's not as exciting as the first wave, I think. Let me think back to the first wave, because we got everyone up here, right? So we got Gambit, Wolverine, Storm, Rogue. Yeah, I'm pretty sure all these guys I was a little bit more excited for, compared to everybody from this wave. But still, Jean Grey and Scott Summers are 2 characters I'm super excited to have, especially in this attire. Of course, with my light the way it is, everything is... What should I block? Top or bottom? Everything is a little bit, you know, blocked, so you can't see, but you'll see when we get to the actual figure. I guess we can go ahead and starting with the package. Oh my god. The package, the front of the box, you have this nice retro style packaging here that everyone is a major fan of, including myself. You have this nice display right here showing off the figure, the nice artwork of the character, and everything. One thing I'll get to when I get to the actual figure is I'm not the biggest fan of this kind of head sculpt here. I think most of it is just the art style they're going for, but when you look over here, this art style looks really, really cool. Let me back it up a bit. He looks great, and I love that hairstyle. On the actual figure, it looks like a 10-year-old boy that they put on this body. It looks a little goofy, and I think it's because the hair's a little different. Just a little bit. I don't know. It's kind of hard to tell. I think this one's just like maybe a little bit longer, but then again, I don't know. It's hard to really make out while it's in the packaging. So maybe we'll address that once we actually have the figure in hand. But everything else, it looks pretty cool. Then, of course, I already showed the back of the box, but you have this package, this display of the rest of the figures in the wave. A little picture of Cyclops right there doing a little pose, and then everybody else, of course. So I guess that whole segment was irrelevant since we essentially did that twice. But I digress. So let's go ahead and transition to the figure. Okay, so this is pretty much everything you get, starting with this alternate head sculpt right here. So first off, like I mentioned, the main issue I had was his face looked a little wonky. On this one, it doesn't look that bad. Obviously, the wrinkles help. If we have that little head sculpt right there to compare to, or the artwork, I mean. It looks good. He definitely looks older in the picture than he does in the toy. I don't know. This one looks fine. I think it's this one that I have the issue with, and I think maybe it's the lips, the pinkness of them, the shape of them, the little smirk. Maybe that's the issue I'm having, especially on the side. It just looks a little goofy, but it's not that bad, I guess. The hair, I don't know. It's not like a one-to-one recreation of what's going on in the artwork, but it looks fine. and it works for me. I'm not gonna like complain about that too much. Obviously, this is only a $25 figure, so you know, minor issues should not be anything that holds you back from this. But yes, this is the alternate head sculpt. Obviously, he looks a little bit more mean because you are supposed to plug in this eye laser effect. I don't know if there's a specific direction. One side's smooth and one side's textured for whatever reason. I don't quite know. You just plug it in and it's starting to feel like you go this way. Like so. Yeah, that fits in a little bit better. And then when he is using his blast effect, there you go. That looks really good. I love the way they accomplished this this effect here. The only thing is that you do lose this head sculpt without the eyepiece. Essentially, there's no like little. I believe I had a Cyclops figure, I don't know, a while ago, where you could just swap out the eyepiece, and that worked fine. Even just without the laser effect, you could plug in just a basic one like that, and then you could use his head sculpt again. And I'd like that because Scott's always grumbling and moaning and groaning, so he would make this face without using his laser effect, so it would be nice to have this head sculpt for that, but that's not what we get this time around, but that's okay. You also get an assortment of hands, so you have, you kind of have just this one on its own right here. It's kind of like him, like maybe he's explaining something, maybe he's like holding on to his eye effect, but he doesn't want to get, you know, too close. Maybe he's like holding an apple. You know, this is your typical object hand, not your grab onto a pipe hand, but like a loose book or an apple or a tablet or something you would just place in here. That's kind of what these hands are for. Same with these hands. These hands are similar in that vein. Actually, these are both what are these, lefties? So you have this one that's just, oh, it's not even in frame. This one that's just a basic old yellow hand. It looks a little weird. The lighting's, I chose a different light for this video. Let me change it to the typical color I use. That looks a little bit more normal. Same thing. You could use it like he's grabbing on to his power effect. Doesn't want to get too close, so you know, open hand. This one, of course, is the same thing, but, you know, tighter. Just the two fingers type of thing. Obviously, this one's the most specific for Scott himself. Everything else is a bit more generic, something you would see on other figures, but it's nice to have multiple options for this guy, especially with the unique color of his hand. You can't just plug in any hand for this guy, so it's nice to have these, I suppose. And then two regular old fist hands, because when he's not using his optic blasts, he's using his fists, so I do appreciate that. I did pull up Scott earlier to show his head, but you know, here's another look at it. Like I said, it looks fine. I just think maybe it's this little smirk in the pink of the lips looks a little goofy. I don't know what I would do to fix it. Maybe not have a smirk. It's not like, I don't know. I haven't watched the X-Men 97 cartoon all the way through. I've watched a few episodes, but I really wasn't around when it was a thing. I was more of a Spider-Man kid because I was playing on gosh, what was it called? It was Disney. Jetix, I think is what it was. That's the one I used to watch my Spider-Man cartoons. X-Men was never a part of that. But, you know, the Scott I know doesn't really smirk a lot. He's usually in the background, kind of grumpy, folding his arms, staying away from the crowd, and, you know, just being kind of a general vibe killer. But, you know, you still love him for that. So just seeing him do that face looks just kind of goofy, especially on this this head. Maybe the cheek mask thing makes his face look a little skinny too. I don't know. There's just something about this head sculpt that looks a little silly, a little goofy. I do like the effect on the hair though, the way it kind of goes over this mask. Of course, it's not painted on the inside though. That's a little disappointing. I don't see any reason why not. I guess it's molded in this skin color. Still a little bit of a bummer. The eyepiece, though, the eyepiece looks really, really cool. I love this classic Cyclops eyepiece. It looks really fantastic. It almost has a little bit of a translucent vibe to it. You can kind of see, I feel like I'm holding it up here. You can kind of see right here on the edges, it's got a little bit of a blue to it. And it kind of looks like you can see through into the mask. And I think it looks really cool. So I'm very, very impressed by that eyepiece. You also have, if he didn't have all these belts and things, it would look very boring, but you do have all these belts and things, so it looks very cool. The nice satchels and belt things to hold his, I don't know what he would even have. What, has he ever used this belt for anything? To pull out like a, I don't know, like a grenade or a health pack or something? Has he ever once used anything in these pouches? I don't know. But he has them, and he has this thing to hold him up, and it looks cool. I love the detail on the X on his chest and on his belt. The nice kind of 3D effect to it. Of course, it's a 3D object, so it's going to have that effect to it, but it looks nice. It's not like they lazily painted it like, I guess, the rest of the belt. They went ahead and added that detail to it. Especially on this one up here, you can see the lines that kind of go beyond the circle right there. Looking cool. The one weird thing that people had pointed out, and of course, I never would have noticed it until they pointed it out, but they did point it out, so now I notice it. His belt thing is like a separate piece, and I think with what they were going with, it works. But it just looks a little goofy. Just a little bit. So when you're doing that ab crunch, this piece just slides up, and this piece kind of goes in. You know how figures work. It goes in all the way around like so. Looks a little weird, but honestly, it's not the end of the world. People were complaining about that. Seeing it in person, totally acceptable. Especially, it really just, you get that cool look to it, and it doesn't take anything away. I think it was a totally appropriate thing to do in order to give this figure some decent articulation. So not an issue at all. I don't know. I guess seeing it in pictures makes it look one way, and seeing it in person makes it look a different way. So everyone complaining online, I guess they could have waited a little bit longer before they got all upset. You have nice belt, or I guess this would be a bracelet, and then you have the same thing for the thighs and the calves. It's the same thing all the way around, just little bits and bobs to add definition to the character, of course, and then his yellow boots and everything like that. So that is the look of the figure. We have gone through it. Of course, this is a great looking version of Cyclops, the 90s. This is like, if you are a fan of Cyclops from the 90s, I guess, I would call this definitive. This is like the figure that you want. Of course, some people have, they've taken the animated Morph, yeah. The one with the leather jacket, and they've taken those arms off and plopped it onto Cyclops. Of course, it's not exactly that easy because there's differences in the sculpt and everything, so apparently it's kind of a difficult task, but they've done it, and it apparently looks really, really good. So if leather jacket Cyclops is your go-to, this could be that figure for you. So if you want to make that custom. But yeah, I think this looks great. Head sculpt, obviously a little wonky, but I know there's some head sculpts out there that you could swap on and it would look just as good. My definitive Cyclops is the Astonishing X-Men Cyclops, and we got that last year, so I'm happy either way. I'm a fan of this look too. I think this looks just as good as the Astonishing X-Men, but the Astonishing X-Men, of course, is the one I grew up with. So either way, I'm glad people are getting their Cyclops, their version of Cyclops on the team. The blue and yellow Wolverine was my definitive Wolverine because that's just what I saw before I even got into comics. If I wanted one that looked like the comics, it technically wouldn't even be a costume. It would be his like just jacket and jeans, because I would read the Solo series and that's pretty much all he would wear. So I think I still got to do a little bit of hunting for that. Actually, I think we're getting one of those this year. I'm pretty sure they've released a tank top Wolverine or a jacket Wolverine many times, but I personally still need to find my own definitive Wolverine. So there's just 1,000 figures. I'm going on a stupid rant. I don't know why. I'm just like talking when I don't need to talk. But there's figures I can still hunt for and look for. So I'm glad we are getting more of this, more figures people need in their collection. So good looking figure. Let's go over articulation, and from what I can see, we get a lot of goodness here. So I'm excited about that. Starting with the head, of course. Looking up is outstanding. I can't believe how good that is. I haven't had a figure that good in freaking forever. That is amazing. And then looking down, of course, is pretty much just as good. Of course, his chin gets into his chest and kind of stops him, but obviously you wouldn't go that far into it anyways. Because it's also on a ball, you can kind of rock it back and forth and get different variations of that. Rock it side to side, spin it all the way around like so. Arms come up to about right here. Yeah, right about there. Of course, butterfly joint, so it can go back, kinda. It can go forward, kinda. Just a little bit of movement. That's not anything to scoff at. This arm, though, I am kind of worried about. I can see it's already got some, like, stress fractures in there. Not the biggest fan of that, so... Gosh, I feel like I'm holding it way too high. Hopefully I haven't been this whole time. Rotate all the way around like so. Rotation here at the bicep. Double jointed pinless elbows comes up to about right there. Buttery smooth. Wrist goes in. Wrist goes out. Wrist goes all the way around like so. Ab crunch, of course. Let's move these arms up. Going back. Ooh, not much. Not much at all, honestly. I think this right here is blocking him from doing too much. Going forward is fine. I'd say more than fine. That's pretty good, I'd say. Not too bad. Rotation. Okay, so it rotates down here. Rotates all the way around like so. If we add the legs into the ab crunch, we get... Oh, that kind of pinches your finger. We get to about right... there. That's pretty good. That's pretty much what you would want. Kicks up pretty high, I'd say. Can do the splits fairly decently. Rotation here at the thigh. Rotates all the way around. Kind of looks like there's two different cuts, but I guess there's not. And then double jointed pinless knees. Ooh, kind of tight. Ooh, that's a little nasty. Ooh, will the other one bend? Will you bend? You should bend. Maybe not. Let's try this one. A little bit of heat will work on this. There we go. Yeah, a little nasty in the knees. A little fresh from the factory, I'd say. This one is a little worse, but once I, oh, there we go. There we go. Now both knees have bent. Okay, yeah, that's pretty good. Pretty tight, but once you work at it a little bit, I'd say that'll be fine. It's already, yeah, that's already right where I'd want it. And the bend is pretty good too. Rotation here at the boot, another area that I'm a little bit like, that's a little, oh, I don't like that. Of course, the knees were pretty tight, so kind of yanking on that area will make that loose a little bit. But now that everything's broken loose, should be fine from now on. Ankle goes down, ankle goes up, and swivel side to side. In fact, it will go all the way around if you want it to. And that is Cyclops. X-Men 97 Cyclops, to be specific. And that is a great figure. I am in love with this figure. I think this figure looks very cool, very 90s, very X-Men, essentially. I guess all we need from the series is we need a Beast, obviously. A Colossus would be cool. Professor X. And who else? Kitty. Jubilee. I'm trying to think of everyone from the show. All I can think of is X-Men Evolution. That's the only cartoon I watched for X-Men. There's like a little dog hair on this Yeah, I'm trying to think of characters from 97. There's a few characters. We could use a Wave 3, definitely. Deluxe Beast, definitely. A Deluxe Cyclops could be, or not Cyclops, Colossus could be pretty cool. Uh, yeah, there's a lot of characters we still need, so hopefully this is a series that gets a Wave 3, potentially Wave 4. And I would be very, very happy because the show looks really, really good. We just got a new clip released of the show, so and that looked great. So I can't wait to see more. I've been planning to do a watch of the original series, and I just haven't done it because there's just so much to watch and do. Oh my god, there's too much to do. But anyways, let me know what you guys think down in the comments below. Do you think this figure's great? Did you grow up with the 90s cartoon, and does it live up to your standards? Hopefully, because I think it's a great figure, so hopefully it's good enough for you guys. Leave a like, leave a comment, leave a subscribe, all the things YouTubers ask you to do, just do it for me as well, and I will be back with another video, hopefully very, very soon. Bye.